Boys, girls, viewers of all genders, the last video flopped and I'm not having that. Honestly, not having it. Got the hat out, no one cared. Sat in a chair for 10 minutes, no one cared. Mocked myself a little bit, no one cared. I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed. Look, if you haven't seen the last video, the Q&A, click on the last video. It's probably down the right somewhere. It's probably lingering around this video somewhere, and I would recommend doing so because it's not brass. It's not brass. That's that. Let's get into the video. Hannah Oberg, probably butchered the name there, is someone who's come up many times in the comment section, someone who's come up many times in my DM, somebody who has been recommended for me to look at and essentially react to, review, discuss for quite a while, and is somebody I never really got round to doing until now. What kind of promoted this was one of the home workout reviews I did featured one of her videos, and it was a video I was not entirely unimpressed by, and I would actually say I was borderline impressed. Who is she? She's a female fitness influencer. She's affiliated with Gymshark, Women's Best, some big things in the fitness world, and she's actually one that, in the grand scheme of things, promotes free weight movements and compound-based movement. Although you may think otherwise, you don't see a mass amount of, especially in this day and age. And in fairness to her, recently she's been producing some pretty decent home workouts in a time when they were needed, i.e. when the gyms have been closed. But then you scroll through her social media and you see a few similarities between her and other influencers of that sort, so people who are kind of affiliated with Gymshark, Women's Best, that kind of grouping, and a lot of those tend to lie within the changing or implementation of movements and routines purely for content purposes rather than productivity and efficiency purposes. I see a few of her things, for example, where it's a cable-only abs workout or a cable-only legs workout, and I feel like a lot of the time these are done so purely for new content rather than to appeal to those who actually need workouts like that or those who desire workouts like that. Although it's not something I would do personally, I can understand why she is doing it in the sense that it's hard creating content that either hasn't been done before or has been done before and requires you to do it better. As for example, with Omar stuff back in the day, he would essentially repeat his own videos every year, just make them better and better, because that's quite a large portion of fitness content on YouTube anyway. And in fairness to her, she does produce things that I think are actually really important and are very necessary in the industry, such as training through pregnancy and training after pregnancy. These are things you don't see a lot of big female influencers do, although there are a few, and I think this is something that people who are going through that period in their life could actually really benefit from, especially if done properly, because in a lot of cases training can really benefit the whole pregnancy process alongside benefit the actual childbirthing process itself. And in addition to that, training when ready can actually really benefit the recovery from childbirth. So I do really appreciate the fact that she's pushing across information regarding how you can train in a safe manner whilst going through that period. Although as a whole, a lot of her content does seem to lack informative value. For example, she'll tell you what to do and give you examples of what to do in her workout guides and programs presented on YouTube, Instagram, whatever, but doesn't really explain or justify why you should be doing them. i.e. she doesn't say you should squat for this purpose, you should do a cable kickback perhaps for this purpose, etc, etc. So I think that's quite a limiting factor, and I do kind of question whether there may not necessarily be enough emphasis on the importance of compound movements and the emphasis on them during the workout she suggests. But again, that could be due to the whole repetitive content aspect I mentioned earlier, and maybe her avoidance of being repetitive. So I from a content creator standpoint, I can understand it, but from a personal trainer kind of standpoint, I'm a bit unsure. I personally would stress the importance of compound movements and their benefit provided you are able to do so safely, and then perhaps give alternatives as to what to do avoiding those compound movements if you have anything in your life like an injury that may hinder you from doing them safely. As with a lot of people I've discussed on the channel, there are a fair few positives surrounding the content they produce, and I appreciate and value the fact that they're trying to get people into fitness. And in Hannah's case, I appreciate and value the fact that she's giving information to people going through or having been through pregnancy that may actually need that additional guidance. But as with anybody, there are also some cons associated, i.e. perhaps a lack of informative content or lack of justification behind why a movement has been selected, alongside the potentially generic and bootybuildery, that's bootybuilder-y, bootybuilderish, bootybuilderesque. Lost. We'll go with Bootybuilder-like workouts and exercises. I think a lot of those are unnecessary and potentially produced purely for the sake of content or looking innovative or creative, thus visually appealing to a lot of people. Therefore, they're more likely to interact or engage with the content that they're seeing. But I think that's probably a conversation for another video and something I should cover at a later date regarding why they tend to do these kind of exercises, why I believe they're doing these kind of exercises, and what the purpose may be behind them and the lack of purpose potentially. But yeah, as a whole, honestly, I would say she's not actually a bad influencer to follow. In the grand scheme of things, no one's perfect. Like, a lot of people won't agree with the content I produce, which I completely understand. We all have our opinions and we are entitled to them, and we all have different goals and motivations, and the content we produce usually aligns with those goals and motivations. So just because I don't necessarily agree with everything she's producing doesn't mean that you may not. So as with anybody, I would say have a look and decide for yourself whether you think she's somebody that deserves to be followed or somebody you deserve to invest your time into, or whether you'd rather not and go elsewhere. But if you made it this far in the video, thank you for doing so. If you haven't watched the last video, please do, because it's really flopped and I'm not happy about it. And if you've got the time and the app, join the TFNL Discord server linked in the description below. As per, like, share, comment, subscribe, and potentially tolerate the next video.
He just picked him up.
Guy there to
He
right,
just
Harry.
picked his mate. Oh no! One shot.
Oh my god, I'm